Hello everyone and welcome back to my reading corner. Today we're going to read an actual novel and not a poem. I picked this one because I thought it was something maybe some of us could relate to. It's called Watching for Santa Claus by Priscilla Underwood, and it's about two children who finds out from an older cousin that maybe Santa Claus isn't real. So they decide to sit up all Christmas Eve night and see if Santa Claus comes down the chimney or if he doesn't. And maybe some of us have actually sat up and waited for Santa Claus, waiting for him to come in with all the presents and eat the cookies and drink the milk and all those sort of things. And I thought it would be a very cozy story to tell. But first, we need my book. So let's see if I can find it. There we go. Book. And the story is called Watching for Santa Claus by Priscilla Underwood. Philip and Jane plotted together one year against old Santa Claus. They had often seen him, but this year they wanted to catch him coming down the chimney in the nursery. Had they really often seen him? Of course they had. He came every year on Christmas night and took the presents down from the tree and handed them around. Philip and Jane had many cousins, and they always assembled in the big house late Christmas afternoon in the long drawing room. Behind the tree, French windows opened on the veranda, and regularly each year, sure enough, sleigh bells began to sound outside those windows, and there was a great stamping of feet and clattering, and in came Santa Claus. His big coat was always covered with snowflakes, even when it didn't snow. He had bushy white hair and a long white beard which waggled quite funny as he talked, and laughed and distributed the presents. It was this beard really that was the beginning of all the trouble. The thing began long before Christmas, when summer had come and gone. One of the first long rainy days of autumn indeed, when children find some mischiefs in the house. Philip and Jane had their older cousin Ned were playing in the attic and prowling around in search of fun. They poked into the bottom drawer of an old bureau. It was full of delightful odds and ends, which they pulled out on the floor to investigate. Of course, one thing after another. "Santa Claus' beard!" suddenly exclaimed Ned as a white wiggle object tumbled into view. Philip and Jane stared at him with doubt and protest in their open eyes. Oh my god, my tongue, blah blah. "Of course it is," repeated Ned. "Don't you recognize it? Cousin George Bennet puts it on when he dresses up like Santa Claus and gave out the presents on the tree." But Philip and Jane did not believe it. They inquired of several friends and relatives older than Ned, and so of course who knew more. But on the whole they got very little satisfaction. They were still in doubt when Christmas came around again, and they resolved to settle the thing once and for all. They made up their minds that they would mount guard by the nursery fire Christmas Eve to prepare to watch for him. Santa Claus would come down this chimney, they felt reasonably sure, for it was a very large one. A fire burned in the grate, but they thought that it would not bother a clever person as Santa Claus. They wore their thick nightgowns and sat on each side of the fireplace like little caryatides. They had made up their minds that they just would keep awake till Santa Claus came down in the chimney. So they sat. So there they sat. Nurse, who had tucked them safely in their beds, had gone away to finish her Christmas present for her soldier. Didn't dream that they were up to. They crept out of their beds when she had gone and never said a word as they kept their vigil. Their stockings hung up from the mantelpiece above them, and there was no sound at all but the crackling of the fire. At first they stared all about the room as wide awake as could be, at the long frieze across the mantel showing Santa Claus driving his team of 6 reindeers, at the fire shining in the andirons and making the red bricks of the fireplace look more warm and ruddy than ever, at the chairs and beds and things away in the shadows. And then, by and by, in spite of themselves, and before they knew it, they went to sleep. Philip's head fell on his chest, and Jane, her hair done up in a little top knot, that way Nurse fixed it for her bedtime, rested her cheeks on one chubby fist, just for a moment, as she was off too. The next morning they were in bed, as usual, and in the dim light, as they peered over towards the mantel, they could see that their stocking bulged with presents. Well, they hadn't caught him, but just the same Santa Claus must really have come down the chimney. It must really have been Santa Claus and not Cousin George Bennet, for who would have been burnt by the fire? Well, at any rate, next year they would simply just keep awake and not even wink, so they could learn the truth beyond any doubt when Christmas come around. The end. I think it's a very, very cute story and something maybe we can all relate to. All staying up, waiting for Santa Claus to come around, wanting to see the Christmas magic with our eyes, but not being able to keep open our eyes because we want to sleep. Sleepy sleep. Hiccup. Well, thank you for listening today. That was like the 3rd story I've read, and we have 2 more to go. Hope to see you soon again. Have a lovely day. Much kisses. Mwah, mwah. Merry Christmas.